"Get the mail, Dudley," said Uncle Vernon from his paper. "Make Harry get it." "Get the mail, Harry." "Make Dudley get it." "Poke him with your smelting stick, Dudley." Harry dodged the smelting stick and went to get the mail. Three things lay on the doormat: a postcard from Uncle Vernon's sister, Marge, who was vacationing on the isle of Wight, a brown envelope that looked like a bill, and a letter for Harry. Harry picked it up and started it, his heart twinging like a giant elastic band. No one ever in his whole life had written him. Who would? He had no friends, no relatives. He didn't belong to the library. So who had? He had never ever got rude notes asking for books back. Yet here it was, a letter addressed so plainly there could be no mistake. Mr. H. Potter, the cupboard under the stairs, 4 Private Drive, Little Winging, Surrey. The envelope was thick and heavy, made of yellowish parchment, and the address was written in emerald green ink. There was no stamp. Turning the envelope over, his hand trembling, Harry saw a purple wax seal bearing a coat of arms: a lion, an eagle, a badger, a snake surrounding a large letter H. "Hurry up, boy," shouted Uncle Vernon from the kitchen. "Where are you doing? Checking for the letter bombs?" He chuckled at his own joke. Harry went back to the kitchen, still staring at his letter. He handed Uncle Vernon the bill and the postcard, sat down, and slowly began to open the yellow envelope. Uncle Vernon ripped open the bill, sorted and disgusted, and flipped over the postcard. "Marge is ill," he informed Aunt Petunia. "Ate a funny whelp." "Dad," said Dudley suddenly. "Dad, Harry's got something." Harry was on the point of unfolding his letter, which was written on the same heavy parchment as the envelope, when it was jerked sharply out of his hand by Uncle Vernon. "That's mine," said Harry, trying to snatch it back. "Who would be writing to you?" sneered Uncle Vernon, shaking the letter open with one hand and glancing at it. His face went from red to green faster than a set of traffic lights, and it didn't stop there. Within seconds, it was greyish white of old porridge. "Petunia!" he gasped. Dudley tried to grab the letter to read it, but Uncle Vernon held it high off his reach. Aunt Petunia took it curiously and read the first line. For a moment, it looked as though she might faint. She clutched her throat and made a choking noise. "Vernon? Oh my goodness, Vernon!" They stared at each other, seeming to have forgotten that Harry and Dudley were still in the room. Dudley wasn't used to being ignored. He gave his father a sharp tap on the head with his smelting stick. "I want to read the letter," he said loudly. "Want to read it?" said Harry furiously, as it's mine. Get out, both of you, croaked Uncle Vernon, stuffing a letter back inside its envelope. Harry didn't move. I want my letter, he shouted. Let me see it, demanded Dudley. Out, roared Uncle Vernon, and he took both Harry and Dudley by the scruffs of their necks and threw them into the hall, slamming the kitchen door behind them. Harry and Dudley promptly had a furious but slight and silent fight over who would listen at the keyhole. Dudley won, so Harry, his glasses dangling from one ear, lay flat on his stomach to listen at the crack between the door and floor. Vernon and Petunia was saying a quivering voice. Look at the address. How could they possibly know where he sleeps? You don't think they're watching the house? Watching, spying, maybe following us, muttered Uncle Vernon wildly. But what should we do, Vernon? Should we write back? Tell them we don't want? Harry could see Uncle Vernon's shiny black shoes pacing up and down the kitchen. No, he said finally. No, we will ignore it. If they don't get an answer, yes, that's best. We don't do anything. But I'm not having one in the house, Petunia. Didn't we swear when we took him in we would stamp out that dangerous nonsense? That evening, when he got from work, Uncle Vernon did something he would never done before. He visited Harry in his cupboard. Where's my letter? Said Harry, the moment Uncle Vernon had squeezed through the door. Who's writing to me? No one. It was addressed to you by mistake, said Uncle Vernon shortly.